Today we're making delicious fruitcake cookies. Hey y'all, I'm Tammy, and this is Collard Valley Cooks. I am so glad you joined us today, and I'm going to let you know that my specialty is old-fashioned cooking. We are going to make an old-fashioned recipe today called fruitcake cookies. We're going to use 1 cup of butter softened, 3/4 cups of packed brown sugar, 1 egg, 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract, 1 1/2 cups of all-purpose flour, a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, a 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, 4 ounces of candied cherries, 4 ounces of candied pineapple, 1 1/2 cups of chopped dates. I'm using a 1/2 cup of chopped walnuts and a cup of chopped pecans. This recipe called for hazelnuts, but I don't have any, and it was a 1/2 cup. It had a 1/2 cup each of 3 different nuts, but today we're going to use the cup of pecans and a 1/2 cup of walnuts. And that's all there is to it. So I'm going to get you up here, and we're going to mix up these delicious fruitcake cookies. You want to have your oven preheated to 325 degrees, and these are going to be baking for 15 minutes. I still have to chop up my pineapple, so I thought I'd show y'all this chopper. This chopper is a lot cheaper than my other chopper that I recommend, and I wanted to try it out and see how it worked before I put it on the website to give y'all a different option for a chopper besides the one that I use that's so expensive. I am going to chop up a little bit, some pineapple, and just put in here, and then we're going to chop it with a chopper. I'm supposed to have about 4 ounces, it says, which is about a little less than a 1/2 cup, I think, of something like this, because it weighs a little bit. Now, if you don't like candied fruit, let me just give you a tip. It's probably because you've never had a good recipe with it. Because I'm going to tell you, candied fruit is absolutely delicious in fruitcake. Just close your eyes and forget it's in there and give it a try. And just because you've tried one fruitcake, don't mean that all fruitcake is bad if it wasn't a good one. Because I'm telling you, I make a delicious, buttery fruitcake. And these cookies are so full of butter. They're going to be delicious.
Okay, guys, I have been eating these cookies, actively eating the cookies for a few minutes, and they are, to me, more like a fruit cookie. Like, I'm not a big fruitcake eater. I'm not just going to go out there and pick something that's fruitcake. But this is more like a fruit cookie to me than a fruitcake cookie. It's delicious. I love it.
All right, I think that ought to do it. My hands are really sticky. I'll put the lid on this. I will say that it's got a pretty good, about a 1/2 inch tab that goes into a hole on the top of this. So if you're putting pecans or something in here, make sure you don't get them inside this hole, or you won't be able to get the lid to go down in that connector good. And then you're just going to pull it. Even with something this thick and sugary, I'm going to see how it works. I've already done my cherries and it did a good job. All right. And there we have our pineapple. They're a little bit pink because I did my cherries first. Did a good job. So we're going to put our butter in first. It's a cup of butter, which is a 1/2 of this block of butter. Get it in here. There's our butter. And it's 3/4 cups of packed brown sugar. So you're going to mix your butter and brown sugar together first, and then we're going to add our egg, but we're going to let this get fluffy first. So you might want to beat it a couple of minutes. going to add our egg. Let that mix up good. That's a half a teaspoon of salt and a half teaspoon of soda. I'm going to use a tablespoon of vanilla. And now we're going to start adding our flour, a half cup at a time. And it has 1.5 cups rounded, it says. So that's a good bit of flour. Now, typically, I would put flour in my candied fruit, okay? When I'm doing a fruit cake, I toss it in flour before I add it to the batter. But a fruit cake batter is a lot different than a cookie batter. So today, I'm just going to throw it in there. I'm not going to try to flour it because I chopped it pretty small. So we're going to add our fruit and nuts, and then we'll be able to bake these in the oven. So 1.5 cups of these dates. Should be about what I got. I got a little bit more. I overfilled it a couple of times, so that time I underfilled it. We're going to add our cherries, our pineapple. Now, if you want to add citron to this, you can. And this recipe doesn't have any spice in it, so I think we're going to add a little spice to it. I should have done that before I added these. Our walnuts and our pecans. It ought to be good. Let's mix it up. I better put a lid on it just in case it wants to throw a pecan out. All right. I'm going to add some cinnamon. And adding the cinnamon is optional. I'm going to put in a whole teaspoon. And there you have it, fruitcake cookie batter. It looks like red cherries. And you don't want to mix this up with a hand mixer because it's a pretty stiff batter with a lot of fruit. You don't want to burn your motor up. So if you've got a larger mixer, you should use it. I guess if you put the fruit in there by hand, you could do it that way, mix it up with a mixer and then add your fruit in and just mix it by hand if you don't have a stand mixer. I'm going to drop these out on a cookie sheet. I don't know how much they're going to spread, so I guess I better put them pretty far apart to start with this first batch. We'll just do a dozen since these are big. And you're supposed to bake these for 15 minutes at 325. All right, we're going to get them in the oven. Make sure you set a timer. I don't know if you've ever tried my fruitcake, but I've been told it's the best they've ever tasted by quite a few people. So if you love fruitcake, you should look up my holiday fruitcake recipe and make you one for Christmas this year. All right, y'all, I checked these after the 15-minute mark and they didn't have any brown on them at all. So if you like a really soft cake-like cookie, then you want to bake them at 325 for 15 minutes. I like a crunchier cookie around the edges, so I have turned my temperature up to 375 and I'm going to bake them until they're nice and golden brown around the edges. I'm going to take these out. We may just bake the next batch at the higher temperature and see the difference in them. All right, there they are. And we're going to slide on another batch and get them in the oven. I like to use parchment because it's fast. And you can have it ready to go for your next batch. All right, I want y'all to see what happened when I turned the temperature up. They stayed taller and they didn't spread out. So if you want them to be spread out, which I like them spread out, we're going to have to make the temperature 325. I do like to experiment with cookies, especially when it's a new recipe. And I hope you'll do the same thing. The one on your left, this one baked at 325, so it spread out more. This one baked at 350. So it caught it up and got it cooking on the inside while it was rising, and that way it didn't fall as quick. So if you want a flat, chewy cookie, you need to go 325 and then turn it up at the end. And if you want a fat cookie, then you want to go 350. You're not going to be able to eat just one. Can somebody say delicious? These are delicious. Good, full of flavor, got them nuts in there. You can really taste that vanilla and butter in there. They are really delicious. A lot of y'all forget that you can eat in moderation and you can make a recipe like this and divide it out and freeze it. So I would do it if I were you. If you got that fruit in the house before it goes bad, those pecans. It's good. I just love fruitcake cookies and fruitcake. All right, today we are starting our dark fruitcake, and I'm super excited to make this for a lot of people. We're going to start with 2 cups of butter. And we're going to mix that with brown sugar. And then we're going to mix this till it's nice and fluffy. Boy, me and my daddy love fruitcake. And I got several recipes for fruitcake, but I settled on one that I am altering a little bit for mine and Daddy's taste, and I think it's going to be really good. So 2 cups of brown sugar and 2 cups of butter. We're going to fluff that up. Now I'm going to add 6 eggs to the butter and the sugar. 6. Tablespoons of vanilla, 3. Now all we have left to do is add our flour. We're going to put a little bit of grape juice in here, and then we're going to add our nuts and our fruit. And I'm going to use self-rising today because a lot of the recipes had all-purpose, and then they added baking soda and baking powder. And so I'm just going to go ahead and use the self-rising and let that be it and not add the other stuff. I want to get further away. This is going everywhere. Now, I'm not going to add a lot of spice to this fruitcake. I know a lot of people do. But I'm going to add apple pie spice because it's got a little bit of everything in it. This is Penzeys apple pie spice, and it's super delicious. And so I'm going to put in 2 teaspoons of it, and that's going to be all the spice that's in my fruitcake because I want to be able to taste the fruit as well. 2 teaspoons of apple pie spice. We are not big on liquor, so my family likes grape juice in their fruitcake. And this is 100% Welch's grape juice, and we're going to use about a 1/2 cup in here. we like grape juice. You can use molasses, a little molasses, and some liquor mixed together, and go in here. Whatever you like, you put it in your fruit cake as far as the liquid goes. Okay, that's our mix. All right, we're going to put a little bit of flour. I'm just going to use a 1/3 cup so it'll be in our fruit cake. And I'm going to toss the fruit in it that I'm going to be using. This is a mix. It's got everything in the world in it. It's got lemon peel, orange peel, citron, cherries, pineapple, everything. So we'll put a little over a cup of that. I'm going to put just a little bit of citron in here, about a 1/4 cup, a cup of chopped dates, and we're going to put these cherries that I've chopped up, and they're probably about a 1/2 cup of cherries. I said a cup of dates. I put a 1/2 cup in there, didn't I?
Well,
let's put another cup.
I was thinking, is this a cup?
It's a 1/2 cup.
Okay.
So let's put another 1/2 cup of dates. You want a cup of dates, a cup of the mixed fruit, and then once I add the cherries and the citron, that's about another cup. So about 3 cups of fruit is what's going to go in here. And now we're going to toss this in this flour, and hopefully that'll keep the fruit up inside the cake instead of sinking all to the bottom of the cake. And now we're going to do nuts. We're going to use all pecans. And now we're going to take our mix and put in here. And then we're going to fold it in.
If you're enjoying this video, please give us a like. If you're new to the channel, please head down, hit that subscribe button, and click that bell for notifications when new videos are uploaded.
If you've never seen anybody use their hands while they're baking, I don't know why, but a lot of people frown on, when you're using your hands when you're cooking. But let me just say this. Everybody uses their hands to make bread, and everybody thinks it's the coolest thing in the world. But if you grab something like this and use your hands, they kind of frown upon it. I have no idea why. But if you work in a big bakery and you're making big batches of stuff, you use your hands all the time. And now I'm going to use my hands to fold this together. So that is our cake batter. And once I get this in here, if I feel like there's not enough fruit in this cake, I'll add some more. But it should be enough. Because fruit cake should be mainly fruit and nuts and not just batter. I think I'll use the dates. I'll use this whole package of dates. It was 10 ounces because it's got the sugar on it, and hopefully it will stay down in the cake good. And then we'll decorate the top of the cake with our whole cherries and some bigger pecans. And so I'm going to wash my hands. We're going to spray the pans. We're going to bake this in, and you start it in a cold oven. Now, I have got tins that I'm going to actually bake this cake in that I got at Dollar General. And that way I can just wrap them with the lid on them and give them as gifts this year for Christmas. So I'm going to go ahead and spray them really good with baking spray. Make sure you use baking spray that has the flour in it. All right, we're going to fill these, and then I'm going to put the topping on top of the cakes to make them pretty. So you're just going to take part of your mix. And remember, fruitcake is not going to rise much. It will a little, but not a whole lot. So you want it to be about 3/4 full. All right, we're going to glaze these, but I'm going to let them cook about an hour, and then we'll brush them with some real good fruit glaze. All right, we're going to take some orange marmalade and heat it up in this small nonstick skillet. And you need to, whatever you heat yours in, try to use a nonstick because we're going to use the glaze that it makes to glaze our fruit and nuts on our fruit cake. Maybe we'll just pull this out and do it because they're still rising in the middle. A lot of our fruit actually fell down in there. I guess I should have put the fruit on it last. Okay, put your fruit in a bowl. Large pieces of fruit for the top of the fruit cakes. At least 2 cups of pecans. You're going to put you some apple jelly in a nonstick skillet and melt it. And then we're going to pour it over here. And that's going to glaze all of this and make it real pretty and shiny for the tops of our fruit cakes. Okay, here's our jelly. We're going to pour it on our fruit. I'm going to save just a little bit because I'm going to do the bigger fruit cake later. And now you're just going to mix it up so that the pecans get shiny and pretty and all the fruit's shiny and pretty, and then you can put it on top of your fruit cake. Now you're going to want to bake your fruit cake. You're going to want to do this after it's baked and you think the top is firm enough to lay this on the top. Because if you put this on there first, like I did the first time, it's just going to fall down in your cake. That looks really good. And I tried brushing it on, and this was so much easier. Any kind of jelly you want, you could use an orange marmalade. Now you're just going to take the fruit and get it on top of the fruit cakes. And get them back in the oven. I'm putting the lids on my fruit cakes that I'm sending. This one goes to a friend of mine. Super excited. And of course, the longer they sit, the better they're going to be. The pecans are delicious. It's so buttery. It's really good. I'm going to tell you, this is the best fruitcake I've ever made. I've made it before several times and never had it turn out this good. It's super moist. It's super delicious. And this is going to be my go-to fruitcake recipe from now on. I guarantee you, if you like fruitcake and you make this recipe, you'll never make another one. Today we're making an icebox fruitcake. My granny made one every year for my Uncle Buddy, and all the boys loved it. That's my uncles and my daddy, of course. So we're going to put one together. They're really easy. They keep at least a month in the refrigerator, so you can make them ahead. They're just really good desserts to have on hand, and they're delicious. So we're going to get started melting our butter and marshmallow together. The first thing you're going to do is take 2 sticks of butter and you're going to melt it in a large saucepan. While you're doing that, while you're waiting on the butter to melt, just go ahead and open up a 12-ounce jar of maraschino cherries and drain it because you're going to reserve the juice. And you're going to chop up these cherries. We're going to go ahead and add our marshmallow. I am toasting 2.5 cups of pecans in my oven at 350 degrees. Okay, this is 10-ounce package of marshmallows and 2 sticks of butter. So just sit here and stir this until it's nice and melted and together. I'm going to go ahead and turn off my eye. It's looking good. I'll take it off the eye. Now we're going to start with mixing up the base for our cake. You're going to use 3 sleeves of graham crackers. Well, it's a whole box of graham crackers plus 5. I'm just crushing them with my hands because once they get in the mixer with the sticky liquid, they're going to crush some more. 1 box of graham crackers plus 5 graham crackers. So I've got 2½ cups of toasted pecans and 1 1/2 cups of just regular chopped pecans. So the total pecans is 4 cups. You do not have to toast your pecans. I just think it adds a little flavor. Do not over brown them. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add our cherry juice. We're going to add our marshmallows and butter. Okay, we're going to start mixing this up on low. And now we're going to add our fruit and nuts. So we're going to put in our pecans. That's 1 1/2 chopped, not toasted. And this is 2 1/2 cups chopped, toasted. We're going to put in our cherries. Now you're going to add 15 ounces of golden raisins. All right, now we've added all our fruit, so we're going to mix it up good. Lay them down flat so they don't roll up. And you're going to dip this out into the middle part like a log. And then you just slice it like a log roll to serve it. Just pull it and shake it with your hands into a roll. It's time to get out our icebox fruitcake. All right, here we have our fruitcake. It's been in the refrigerator for quite a few hours. It's nice and firm. I'm going to unroll it, and we're going to wrap it in foil after we slice some up and show you how pretty it looks. Okay, here we have our bar. And after you slice your pieces to serve, you can wrap it in foil, and this will last up to a month in the refrigerator. So I am using a serrated knife to show you the inside of our fruitcake. And this does not have any of the candied fruit in it, so it's really just pecans and cherries. Now this is a sticky dessert, so as soon as you get it out of the refrigerator, you need to slice it and get it on the plate, and then just wrap it up and put it back in the refrigerator until it's ready to serve. You can take the rest of your remaining log and you're going to wrap it in foil, and it will stay up to a month in the refrigerator. So let's go ahead and get this ready. I'm going to show you how to do that. Just take your remaining fruitcake and wrap it in foil. It's that simple, just like you would a piece of cheese. Now you've got a delicious dessert that's gonna last through the holiday, through New Year's. Let's taste this old-fashioned family favorite.
It was a Benefield household tradition. It is delicious. Boy, when you get a bite of that, you find out real quick like why they liked it so much instead of the candied fruit. I hope you guys have enjoyed watching our family tradition of icebox fruitcake. And I hope you make one soon for your family and friends. Now, thanks for watching Collard Valley Cooks, where we cook like Granny did this time. Love y'all. Bye.